Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to give you the shocking truth why you are not an entrepreneur. Or maybe why you were an entrepreneur at one point, but you went back to being an employee. This is the reason, and so many people are going to be, quite frankly, not happy about this reason, but it's the truth. Now, I understand that some people cannot be entrepreneurs. They just don't have the basic mechanics to run a business to any kind of level. But that's a pretty rare individual, because I really think most people can, because even if you're not good at accounting, you're not good at certain things in your business, you can always hire somebody to do it. There are apps that do a lot of that stuff for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. Really, all those excuses are kind of falling by the wayside in today's age when there's so many different apps to do things for you. You don't need to be an expert at all these various aspects of your business. You just need to focus on the main core aspects of your business. But the reason why most people today are not entrepreneurs, or they're failed entrepreneurs who went back to working for somebody else, is quite frankly, it's because they are afraid they won't make enough money, because they know deep down in their hearts that entrepreneurs are paid based on results, and they know that they do not generate the kind of results that would be warranting a steady and good pay. They can get away going into some company somewhere where they're just another number on the employee books, and they can kind of blend in, do the bare minimum to get by. There's not really a whole bunch of requirements for them to produce results that are tangible, that can be measured. So they can kind of just float around and get paid for doing the bare minimum. But you can't do that as an entrepreneur. You got to be on your game. You have to be willing to work long hours. You have to be willing to sacrifice some things. Your worldly enjoyment needs to go away. Now, the reality is it should anyway. What the world does and how it spends its time is so wasteful and frivolous and just truly idiotic. But if you become an entrepreneur, you're going to have to be working very hard. I remember a long time ago, decades ago, when I first became an entrepreneur, somebody told me that your worst boss is the boss you have when you're an entrepreneur. Meaning that you become your worst boss, the worst boss you've ever had. But I would put some exclusions to that based on the fact that if you are disciplined, you hold yourself to a high standard, you keep yourself accountable, you're going to be the best boss you've ever had. People become their worst bosses when they're an entrepreneur because they allow themselves to slack off. They allow themselves to take a day off here and there. You know, when I first became an entrepreneur, I was always kind of entrepreneurial minded, but when I actually had a business, and one of the things I noticed was very early on, the friends I had at the time didn't always understand. It wasn't from a malicious place, but they didn't understand I need to be working. They thought, well, because they were off that day from their little 9-to-5 job, that I didn't have to be at work, so I could go do things with them. They couldn't understand that the business was a real business that required me to be there at certain times. And regular entrepreneurs a lot of times get caught up in that trap. Well, yeah, I don't have to work today. You know, I can just do that stuff tomorrow. And they go run off and go out to eat and do some stuff with their friends. That sounds good. It sounds cute. But you do that enough, sometimes one of those days, this is vitally important you understand, one of those days off can equal weeks of effort you're going to have to put in to get yourself to the place you would have been if you just worked that day and didn't call off, didn't shrink back, didn't do less, didn't just live for frivolity and entertainment. The amount of value and profit lost from entrepreneurs taking a day off here and there, taking a vacation when they should be redoubling their efforts in their business to get better results, is tremendous. Now, you may be one of these people who has thought about being an entrepreneur, you thought about starting a business, you had some great ideas, but you didn't do it because you knew deep down your heart that you would sabotage yourself. You knew deep down your heart that you've never produced enough results to be warranting a good income. You've been able to get by with it because you're working for somebody else, or you're in some company when you're just a number, and there's not really anybody really watching over you. I mean, they want to know that you showed up and that you're present, but results aren't really a requirement for your job. And you can't do that as an entrepreneur. I want to encourage you to take the step into entrepreneurship. Understand, this does not mean you just go quit your job immediately and you go pour everything into the business because you don't know if it's going to make a success or not. But be diligent in your endeavors. In the evenings, you can dedicate an hour or two toward your business. Start getting it built up, start getting some sales or some clients or whatever it may be that's going to bring you profit as that entrepreneur that you are, and start building upon that. And then when it builds up enough to where it is conflicting and causing problems with you having to go to work for that job you work, then you can quit the job because you're bringing enough money in. You don't need that job anyway. And now you can dedicate and focus solely on your business and get great results. But do not enter into entrepreneurship thinking this is going to be the easy way out. I don't have to work as much. I can be an entrepreneur. I don't have to invest money. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't have to do this or that. I can just lay back and things will be done for me. It'll be easy. I'll hire employees and they'll do everything for me. That's not how it works. You start hiring a bunch of employees when you don't have a viable business going, you're just going to hemorrhage money left and right for no reason. You need to get the right mindset, the Christ-like mindset, the mindset of somebody who's doing all they do is dedicated unto the Lord, which is what the scripture commands as a believer that we should be doing. And if you're not doing that as a believer, I don't care whether you're an entrepreneur or you work for somebody else. It actually might be more dire if you're working for somebody else and you're not working unto the Lord, because your testimony is flowing each and every day as you come and produce subpar results. That's a Christian life. That's what Christians bring to the table, that mediocrity, that subpar result. That's a bad testimony and a witness against the Lord because of your lack of effort. So if you do work for somebody else, you can't just shrink back because you're allowed to, because maybe nobody will catch you. That should never be the mentality. It should be, I'm going to do my all each and every day because I'm not working for this boss. If I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not working for myself. Everything I do, whether I work for somebody else or I work in my own business, is unto the Lord. And that is how I'm going to produce the best results. Because somebody who's truly doing things unto the Lord is going to produce massive results. They're going to be ultra productive. They can't shrink back. They can't be lazy. They can't go take another day off. They are going to produce massive results that brings about massive success and, of course, brings great profit. My friend, I want to encourage you. If you've put off being an entrepreneur because you're afraid of the effort it might take, you're afraid that you can't produce the results that you might want to produce, you need to change your mindset. You need to renew your mind to the truth that you're going to start living and doing things and doing all things that you do unto the Lord, because that will produce a vastly different result from just showing up and being average, being normal, being mediocre, being like everyone else. I don't care if you work at a company that has 1,000 people and you're number 1001, you should stand out and be in the top 1% of that company. You shouldn't be in the bottom being like everyone else. You don't have the right to do that as a Christian. You need to live in such an exemplary and exceptional way that people notice and take note and ask you why. How do you do so much? Why do you stay later when you don't have to? Why do you do things at such an exceptional level that we've never seen before, and you can give God all the glory for it? We need to rethink how we live in life. We need to rethink how we operate in business, whether it's your own business or working for somebody else. All things need to be done unto the Lord and for his glory. And if you take up that mindset and you really have that mindset, whether you're going to work for somebody else or you're going to become an entrepreneur, you're going to bring massive results into those businesses, and it's going to be mightily profitable for you as well. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.